Hey, welcome to the Economic Report. It's Brian here, and today we put together a special show for you. Let's face it, if you're 45 and older and you're still making these same financial mistakes, you may never get ahead. And quite honestly, you might be getting further and further behind. So, today we're going to talk about a couple of things here, maybe small, tiny, but sustainable things that could be really sinking your financial boat. And we're also going to talk about how to work on these things and move your game forward. Once again, all that we're asking for is a like and a subscribe, in part because this is what YouTube loves when you go ahead and do that for our creators video, and that would help me out a ton. So I appreciate it. Let's continue with the show. So I'm sharing this story with you because I thought it had a lot of merit and it's a fun story. And maybe, just maybe, there's more to be said about this because one of the things they're saying at age 45 that people like us might not be doing, we might not have any kind of a position in real estate. Like, for instance, if you're renting, leasing, whatever it is, then your housing money is not at work because one thing that traditionally has happened over time is real estate has been a fantastic hedge against inflation. I'm going to go ahead and blow this thing up just a teeny bit more so we can see this story a little bit here as well. And with that, it says, want to hedge against inflation, buy a forest. Well, they're saying because of the costs of timber, raw materials, etc., in the housing market. But let's be honest with you, it probably is not attainable for the vast majority of us. But the fact is that this is something that some people are doing. But what I'm really trying to get on about here is really take a look at real estate because, once again, particularly if you have a lower interest rate, it's pretty darn good, and your housing has really exploded, right? So that I always thought that like my house is my number one expense. It's not my greatest asset. It's probably my biggest expense, but I got to be honest with you. I'm looking at the appreciation even my house has had, and it's not completely paid off, like not yet. But folks, I'm here to tell you, it's gone up almost like uh, you know 100% in value. In other words, it's worth twice of what I paid for it. And I only bought it about 14, 15 years ago. So it's just something to take into consideration. Let's go ahead and check out the next thing we should be doing at 45 plus to kind of help us save ourselves and not get whacked out by inflation. So, all joking aside, we weren't talking about you really going and buying a forest, but I did want to share this from you. It's a nice article about is real estate an inflation hedge? And of course, look what they're saying. There goes the balloon. And of course, as the world continues to recover from the impact of COVID, so this is a little bit dated by about a year or so. Make no question about it. It's saying sharp increase in prices and wages, sparking fears that we're entering a new period that will be characterized by higher inflation, higher interest rates, which that prediction of the article has been true, right? But of course, what can we do in the meantime is buy that piece of real estate, right? That was going to be the hedge against inflation. Let's go ahead and check out the next thing we can do at 45 plus to make sure we're staying in the game. And I got to tell you, so this article here is about something else that we can do at age 45 plus to hedge against inflation. It says the best investments that hedge against inflation. And folks, they're talking about all different types of stuff here, but one of the things that comes up is, like, without a doubt, is buying into the market, right? Because the stock market, the old saying is that all boats are lifted in a rising tide. In other words, whether it's your pension, your 403b, your 401k plan, whatever it is, the fact that you have a position there All right. And so the stock market, once again, when it creeps up, it helps move you in the right direction. And of course, that's inflation. That's inflation at work. Let's go ahead and take a look at the third and final thing here, because I think a number of you will find this one particularly interesting. Uh, because the bottom line is, um, this was pushed out there, and I've got to share it with you because they're most definitely saying that one of the greatest things people like us could and should be doing to beat inflation really has to do with investing in yourself. Yeah, folks, this is coming like right from Warren Buffett. And so that is no joke, but it says, hey, even though inflation has cooled a bit over the past couple of years, it is back in the news in full force as economic concerns about recessions continue. One person who knows how to beat inflation is, like, without a doubt, Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. One of the things that I liked about this is, hey, folks, I think that we tend to under invest in ourselves. We look for other things here to be the main leverage to get us ahead of the inflation cycle, whether it's real estate, whether it's the stock market. But maybe, just maybe, realizing that you yourself have ideas, you have the ability to make things happen. And quite often, instead of waiting for the return on a house or the return on a stock, quite often you could be the person that makes things happen. And we're talking about in a more amplified way, doubling, tripling, quadrupling your efforts. And that's kind of what Buffett's talking about. Now, of course, there could always be classes, there could always be personal improvement, but the bottom line is you doing the little things to move your game forward and not being afraid to put yourself out there in some capacity, because the side hustle is not dead. It's actually going pretty well right now. And there has never been a better time to do something. Heck, I was visiting with a friend today and he said, listen, I've got a person who comes over and spends 1 hour in my house cleaning. Bam, $100. He's like, and she does such a great job. I got her three more jobs. And so that person's making an extra $300, like, on the side. Doing what? House cleaning. So what? Cash is cash, and it goes right from their hand right into that person's pocket. So I'm just telling you, the 45-year-old plus people like us are looking for a way to beat inflation. And if we're doing these little things, whether it's investing in real estate, investing in stocks, or going ahead and going the extra mile, in doing a side hustle, then you're in good shape. Let's hear what Warren Buffett has to say here at the end, because I think there's always a lot of wisdom to be shared by Warren Buffett.
Good morning, Angie Jansen of Cambridge, Massachusetts. My question is, aside from the need to put huge amounts of capital to work, do you still believe that a high return on tangible capital business like Seas or Coke is the best asset to hold in an inflationary environment? Or do you now think an irreplaceable hard asset with pricing power like a railroad or a hydroelectric dam is superior?
The first group is superior. Just as I mean, if you can have a wonderful consumer product, it doesn't have to be a consumer product, a product that requires very little capital to grow and to do more dollar volume, as will happen with inflation, even if you don't have unit growth, and it doesn't take much capital to support that growth. That is a wonderful asset to have in inflation. I mean, the ultimate test of that is your own earning ability. I mean, if you're an outstanding doctor, lawyer, whatever it may be, teacher, as inflation goes along, your services will command more and more in dollar terms, and you don't have to make any additional investment in yourself. People think of that, with a very long lived real estate asset or something of the sort, or a farm or anything where additional capital is not required to finance inflationary growth. The worst kind of businesses are the businesses with tons of receivables and inventories and all of that. And in dollar terms, if their volume stays flat, but the price level doubles, and they need to come up with double the amount of money uh, to do that same volume. But the ideal business, See's Candy, is doing. It was doing $25 million of volume when we bought it, and it sold 16 million pounds of candy at a little more than well, it retails $1.90, and we had some quantity discount. So we were doing close to $30 million worth of business. Now we're doing well over $300 million worth of business. It took $9 million of tangible assets to run it when it was doing 30, and it takes about 40 million of tangible assets at 300 and something. So we've only had to plow back $30 million into a business, which will make us, well, it's made us probably $1.5 billion pre-tax during that period. And if the price of candy doubles, we don't have any receivables to speak of. Our inventory turns fast. We don't store it or anything like that. We gear up seasonally, and the fixed assets aren't big. So that is a much better business to own than a utility business if you're going to have a lot of inflation. Charlie?
So with that, I think we've hit the nail on the head here. More than once, we've taken a look at the big picture here. And of course, the big picture really deals with what 45 plus year olds should be doing to hedge themselves against inflation. And I like Warren Buffett because Warren Buffett, once again, well, he's the genius, right? One, and maybe equally as important, he kind of adds another complete like paradigm shift to the story here. We know that Buffett understands real estate, Buffett understands stocks, but he's also saying like, listen, we went out, we bought a company that's not publicly traded, but this company does this for us. And we allowed the company to continue. We reinvested in that company. And so you'd really make a strong case about any kind of a business you can own. And the fact is that you have direct control over it and you're not worrying about the whims of a market. So, hey, it's Brian. Thanks for joining me. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I enjoy sharing with you. I'm glad that you're a part of this community. Make sure you are liked and subscribed. And of course, just remember, folks, that the biggest battle you fight is the one between your ears over your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Make somebody's day and smile and say hello, because this world can use a little bit more kindness these days. And have a great day, and I'll see you next video. Thank you.